After finishing my last Four Paragons video, I had thought that these four Poppin' cannot get any worse. They've done all they can do to sicken me, and there is no more room for them to go. I'm willing to admit I was wrong. I was very, very wrong. You see, sometimes life throws things at you and you're not prepared for it. No one can be. We don't possess a magic mirror to foresee the future, and it's how we cope and handle those moments that show us who we are. And boy, did something happen. A global pandemic struck, and our four paragons of weight loss, and all-round perfectly sweet, lovely, not at all toxic ladies were waiting. And my goodness, they did not disappoint. You see, when I think they can't sink any lower, those ladies go far below what I ever expected, and more. Never play limbo with these ladies, not least because if they fall and you're too near them, you can kiss goodbye to breathing. You're going to be as flat as a pancake. Because despite their size, they crush going lower every single time, and they keep lowering the bar. So what, do you ask me, has prompted me to do another Paragons of Weight Loss video, especially when I specifically said I'd never talk again about the cockroach queen of Canada? Well, sometimes things need to be said, and when life gives you lemons, you make the best darn lemonade you ever tasted. Oh, Chantal. Chantal Marie Olive, whatever your last name is, I couldn't give a fuck. Our queen of the Canadian cockroaches has turned up in full force for this event. Ontario is on lockdown. She claims it is not, but she lies. Which, come on, let's face it, is something she does a lot, so are we really surprised? But here is the thing. Chantal is going out for food, shopping every single day. She's going out regularly at night, going to get fast food and doing live streams. In fact, for somebody who barely left her home before this virus, she has become quite prolific in leaving her house. She's racing around in her car, just turning the steering wheel puts her out of breath. Treating fast food workers like a pile of crap when they don't give her fast food fast enough. Or they don't understand what she says, but let's face it, do any of us when she puts on that fake, sickly, sweet, breathless voice? When she tries to give the impression she is sweet and gentle and kind? So Chantal is running around risking other people. She even had the absolute audacity to clickbait the virus when her ex became sick. The sickness seemed to pass very quickly, and this clickbait video happened the video after she offered him food from her fork and he ate it. Am I saying it was all fake? Yeah, I am. Because that woman went to ER when she ate too much cheese. Does anybody think that she would be in a small space with someone she suspected for a second had corona? No fucking way. That woman would be on her way to ER as fast as you could say, "Hey look Chantal, more poutine!" Which, for the record, stop saying is some kind of cultural delicacy. It's fatty fries with gravy and cheese curds. That's gross as fuck. We have this here in the UK too. You can buy it at local chip shops. Chips, gravy and cheese. If you want, you can go for beans. Just give me a break. You believe you're a foodie? Give me strength. Chantal's manners have become even more grotesque than usual. She goes to take number 2s during live streams and leaves the sound on so everyone can hear everything that is happening. She is one classy lady, and I'm wondering when she opens up her finishing school for young ladies. The art of acting like foodie booty to get all the men. Which, while we are at it, Chantal's stories have always been boring and farcical, often sounding like movies. But the fact that she keeps telling stories where every man she meets falls over himself to sleep with her is quite frankly hilarious. But hey, what would I know? I'm not a sex goddess, unlike Chantal. All this woman has to do is go to a coffee place to get pastries and the server is all over her, apparently. There is a nursery rhyme called Georgie Porgy, and he kissed all the girls and made them cry. What no one tells you is there was another version. But Chantal Marie didn't get to kiss all the boys. They ran away too fast, so instead she preyed on men with insecurities and bled them dry for all she could, happily humiliating them. It's a much darker version, yes, but it is what it is. She's very proud. Chantal is a woman who preaches about privilege of thin people. She complains and cries, "Oh, the chairs aren't big enough for Chantal" at restaurants. That has nothing to do with what she has done to herself, but for a woman who teaches about what privilege is, she has been blind to her own privilege throughout this whole situation, eating vast amounts of food in one sitting every day for a video, shopping for more food every day, ignoring the advice of officials in her area, belittling and playing down the virus. It's just a common cold, right, Chantal? Or a cousin of it? Who knows? Spreading misinformation and having very little regard for the people around her. I'm long past mentioning her own frail health and that she is insanely at risk from the virus, because at this point I think she is running towards the volcano. She is like a moth to the flame. What you tell her she can't do, she feels the unstoppable desire to do it. She is like a child. Her recent interactions with another mukbanger, Steven Sushi, have truly become disturbing. Her believing they are flirting, and it's quite clear he's taking the piss. He has a girlfriend, Chantal. I thought you watched his videos, and in your recent made-up story time, you were so adamant you wouldn't go near a guy who was taken anymore. You've grown and matured. What happened? Which in itself is hilarious. My unborn niece is more mature than you, Chantal, and she's due to be born in early May. There is something deeply dark and disturbing about the world of Chantal Marie. Steven Sushi is out there endorsing she, a woman who is morbidly obese, dangerously in ill health, and a self-professed food addict, to eat a whole large bowl of ranch dressing with 4 cucumbers and a shit ton of wings. It's like her whole support network of feeders who get off on watching someone kill themselves with food, and as each new mukbang video comes, she turns herself more and more into Steven Sushi. She will be slamming her body against a wall next after a mouthful of pepperoni pizza. In more videos, she is emulating his behavior, and it's getting weird and disturbing. Her videos are becoming more overtly sexualized. She isn't even trying to hide it any longer. The moans are more frequent and louder. She possesses no shame, and quite frankly, from the new addition of the horrendous wig that she doesn't know how to fit properly, to eating butter, it is quite clear that these are requests from her feeders. And she does them. She has no regard for her health. Instead, I feel she has lost all hope. Her eyes look dead and lifeless. Any encouragement she gets, she sees as a sign of love and support. Only this is what's killing her. Only now she seems happy to take others out with her as she parades around town looking to satisfy her next binge. In a recent vlog, the same one, she tells us about the office romance where she was the other woman, when in fact, no, Chantal, you were not the other woman. That would mean you were a mistress at some time, and I can't imagine anybody being that stupid to make you their mistress. A mistress would mean an upgrade from a current spouse, and I can't imagine you'd ever be an upgrade. Chantal gave a demonstration of names, telling us how bad she was, and she used an episode of The Simpsons, the bought license plate episode where they go to Itchy and Scratchy Land to be precise. And, of course, it made no sense, but nothing ever does in Chantal's world. There is one that actually does work, Chantal. A Simpsons Halloween episode where Homer eats so much he becomes a remorseless giant eating monster, gorging on the people of the town day and night without care for anyone but fulfilling the desire he has to eat, and eat that is Chantal. Isn't it weird that she made that Simpsons analogy just as I'd finished watching that very Halloween Simpsons episode? Truly the Simpsons warned us, but we did not listen. Now we must pay the price. But then again, we can all go and suck a dick, right? Wise advice from our regal cockroach queen in such dark and uncertain times. Thank you. Amberlynn. Sorry, Amber. Our dainty little girl was served a cease and desist from an aging pawn queen with all the charisma of an amoeba and the brain the size of an oat grain, and our girl has promptly obeyed. But then again, she isn't very bright, is she? Amber kicked off events telling us we must all do our bit, which included going to the store and making sure you stock up your kitchen to the brim, ensuring that she wouldn't need to leave the house because of the virus. She was doing her part by making sure they wouldn't have to leave the house, but all the food seemed to be Amber's. When she opened a box of Laughing Cow cheese, her eyes nearly popped out of their sockets in outrage. Suddenly Amber was a detective. She would chase down who ate that one slice of cheese. And when no one came forward, she deduced the box seal was already open. Therefore, the whole box went in the bin. Don't worry, she had 3 or 4 more packets of Laughing Cow cheese. Our girl got her fix. Then Amberlynn brought us the bad news. But she was brave for us and told us that the freezer, that was filled to the top with food, had been somehow mysteriously unplugged, and everything had been spoiled. Did she show us evidence? No, she didn't. She said she didn't notice for a week. The most laughable thing is that she expects us to believe she didn't go in the freezer to get food for a whole week. In fact, in that same vlog there, she is eating a turkey burger that had been in the freezer she showed us. If those were from another shop, then her story doesn't add up because she said she didn't notice for a week, and therefore why would she go and buy more turkey burgers when she already had at least 2 boxes? Whatever the truth, between her lying about uploading videos because they are so slow uploading these days, which doesn't add up because Eric had been uploading vlogs just fine in that time, and her constant dour mood, Amberlynn is the opposite of Chantal in this pandemic. Amber wants you to feel bad for her, just as much as she feels for herself. You see, she tells us she's scared and her anxiety is so high she's having panic attacks. And she's constantly looking for information because knowledge is power. That in itself is so ironic coming from Amberlynn Reid. And she goes on and on. Her vlogs are all me, myself, and I, yet she wonders why people think she is selfish and only cares about herself. You see, because while she tells us one thing, she shows us another. Which is not a new thing for Amber, but despite her recent quest into the world of Amberlynn wokeness, she has learned nothing and only recites what she hears reaction channels say, hoping that we will all be convinced that she has changed. During this last month since quarantine was implemented and people began going crazy hoarding food, I would have thought it would be impossible to put on weight. Well, Amber proved me wrong because in her last weighing she gained, and she was happy and proud about that. It wasn't as much as she thought it would be. She's back now with more clickbait and readily admitting she is a troll. Girl, we knew. This would be amusing if she wasn't trolling with her health. The woman is a cartoon character at this point. I refuse to believe that she is real. She cannot be anything but a cruel joke, because how is it possible for anybody to willfully parade themselves on camera and act like a laughingstock while risking her health and happily raking in the cash she spends on useless rubbish, crying about how she's afraid to die, and yet somehow she is more afraid of not eating or breaking away from the chains that hold her demons in place. Or maybe she is the demon. I don't know at this point. All I know is she's a mess, and I think that makes her proud. Crying over the virus and then not having one single worry about something that is a far greater threat and will outlast the pandemic by a long way. Her weight. And what, do you ask me, has life by Jennifer, Gwen, Anne been up to? Well, let's just say I've revised my opinion of her. I thought previously she was the least problematic. Oh no. I was being naive. She was equally as bad, but maybe worse. because she hides her evil doings behind a polite smile that is merely a mask, and far too often that mask slips and the real Jennifer Gwen Ann is revealed, and she's not pretty. Jen started off with a tasteless joke about the virus. She and her insipid, spineless boyfriend took it upon themselves to make a video where they wore maxi pads on their face and tampons stuffed up their noses. Now, I have to admit, I have a very dry and dark sense of humor. I'm far too sarcastic. My friends even wonder when I'm being serious or joking. But not even I have done something like this. Not even I have been this stupid. Then again, I'm an idiot, not a vile, malicious, toxic harpy who sucks the life from everyone around them and enjoys it. She reminds me of an old film I saw once with Ursula Andress called She. Ursula played an old, ancient queen who still possesses her beautiful youth, and she does so by sucking the life from young women. Only Jen is neither young nor particularly beautiful. Jen does it because she is abusive, and she has no power in her life, and she feels small and unimportant, so she gains that power from select places that she can. Which brings me to her recent behavior. While the rest of us seek to entertain ourselves while in quarantine, worrying about bills and loved ones, and worrying why the hell doctors and nurses aren't being given more protection against a disease they're on the front line fighting, Jennifer Gwen Ann decided to strike 3 videos on a reaction channel. And 3 strikes means bye-bye channel. Those videos were in fair use. Of course they were. And Jen knew that. She herself has made videos where she says, anyone is welcome to make videos about me. What people say about me is none of my business. Her words, not mine. Then this was during the time she was having beef with Chantal Marie after mentioning Charlie Gold in a video and said she liked her or something like that. So Jennifer Gwen Ann, you are a big hypocrite. As big a one as Chantal. So strange, because wasn't this something you hit her with months ago? But then, as I've said before, all 4 of these women use each other. Jen is no different. They use the names of others to invoke pity and to make us think they are at least not as bad as that. It's tiring. Jen is 44 years old and has happily admitted she's not a nice person. Remember how she proclaimed to her viewers she viciously trolled her new boyfriend online, and from that they fell in love apparently. How lovely. Does this mean I will find my happy ever after with the homophobes who call me evil and tell me I'm going to hell? Maybe the ones who pop up to call me a hoe. Oh, I cannot freaking wait for those cozy nights in with my former hater. Hey sweetie, are you trying to hug me or strangle me? We'll never know. Jen's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Only her disguise is very bad, and she gets far too hungry. She doesn't care if the suit falls off, so we can see her in all her grisly glory. Then, when she has finished her feast, she looks up, adjusting her suit, and asks us why we're being mean to her and why we are trolling. Because you know trolling, Jennifer Gwen Ann, don't you? You wrote the book on it, didn't you? You're a bully. And I hate using that word because it's so bashed around a lot, especially by our paragons. But damn it, what better word to use for a woman who bullied her own sick mother? Her video telling us about why she filed copyright strikes against the channel that had under 300 followers. The person who does that channel now has another one, and as I looked last night, that subscriber count is well over 1K. What you did, Jen, was quite frankly bloody brilliant for that channel. Nice one. Idiot. She maintains a narrative that makes no sense. Then she tells us a lot that she won't stand for bullying and harassment against her. But Jennifer, dear Jennifer, you don't stand for anything. You are glued to your wheelchair and your bed. You don't stand for anything at all, which is one of the reasons you're in a situation you're in right now. And finally, our last paragon. Amy has become a teacher during this whole pandemic. Yes, I'm being serious. She is helping her eldest son with his schooling, which, if I'm honest, would be like asking a ravenous lion to babysit your baby antelope. Amy is to the intellectual world what the Kardashians are to modesty. It's an oxymoron by anyone's standards. That poor child, he just keeps on suffering. Amy spends her vlogs complaining about her many ailments, and believe me, she has a lot. And her weight loss has gone up in smoke, if indeed it had ever not been on the heap of a bonfire from the beginning. Amy spends her vlogs riding around in her car, telling us how well she has been eating, all while ignoring the crumbs on her front and licking the remnants of food from between her teeth while she talks. This woman is supposedly worried about her children and about herself, yet she finds the oddest reasons to go to the supermarkets, like getting school supplies for her son, when we were supposed to ignore the fact that there is a wonderful invention called a pencil case, and in that case, it is full of supplies your child should need. Her son should have had all those things before, but no, apparently it's important that he has crayons. So Amy gets in her car and heads on out to do her motherly duties. She's a very good mother, you know. Her constant pointing out about supporters who are privately messaging her to give her support and share personal stories are quite frankly idiotic and fanciful. Her comment section are filled, and I mean filled, with negative comments about her, and they are all very valid comments, calling her out on her lies and contradictions. She can tell a story that lasts 20 minutes, and at the end it's as though I blacked out, because I have no idea what the story was about or what happened, because she speaks a lot, but none of it means anything. She tells us she's on new medication, but she can't remember what it's called. She reminds me of Oliver Hardy, with her fake little laughs and giggles, and the way her face scrunches up while she does it. I always picture her with a tie, fiddling with it as she chuckles aimlessly, trying to convey the emotion of warmth and sweetness, when we know the opposite is true. It is true what they say, that if you want to see who someone truly is, then give them a great challenge. And this has been a great challenge for everyone. And our 4 paragons failed. Are we really surprised? As I started this video by saying I thought they couldn't get any lower, but they stunned even me. It's so alarming how very common, unremarkable human beings can be so out of touch with reality that they think all of these things are acceptable. They are genuinely perplexed about why they are being called out and targeted. They have no decency and absolutely no empathy for others. They keep proving constantly what they are made of, and none of that material is any good. Here is a tip, ladies. If you have to keep repeating how good of a person you are and telling us about all your good deeds, then they didn't happen and you are not a good person. Other people judge what person you are. You don't tell them, they see from your actions and your inactions. In the previous videos about our paragons, I've ended with something deep, or at least I tried to end with something that was thoughtful and philosophical. But at this point, all the toxic energy these women put out into the world, I have none. Instead, I thought it would be more appropriate to honor the true heroes around us, the real people we should praise, who put their heads down and have worked throughout this pandemic with no protection and no help. The people who have been on the front lines ensuring that society can continue to function when these women have continued to be a barnacle. Doctors and nurses, other healthcare workers, the police, supermarket workers, and every other essential key worker. The ordinary people at risk every day and cannot escape to the safety of their homes like us. Remember when this is all over, who it was that pulled us through this time. It wasn't billionaires or governments to any great extent. Many have been incompetent, my own included. It wasn't rich YouTubers or celebrities trying to be relatable and failing badly. It certainly wasn't our big girls who hail themselves as heroes, while the rest of us roll our eyes so much we'll be needing some severe eye attention when all this is over. It was our family members, our friends, and our neighbors, community members. Maybe it's even you. Without these people, we would be lost, and the whole of society would have shut down. This is how I know the Four Paragons are lost causes. Their words are empty, and their favorite phrases are I and me. They have been, in their self-centered bubbles of delusion, for so long that they have lost touch with what truly matters, if indeed they ever knew. Narcissism runs right through all four of them. So while people put their lives on the line, these four will continue to tell you they're the true heroes. They are doing their bit in saving us all. It would be sad if it wasn't so damn laughable. One day you wanna hold